there's always something special about children's concerts for me. So yeah, I'm always nervous, and once the band starts playing, it's a big relief. Just trying to figure out the weather and hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Hello, TheatreArtLife podcast listeners. Today we're sharing with you the audio from our one-on-one interview series. We hope that you enjoyed listening. Some of our discussion has references to pictures shown in our webinar, so if you want to see these pictures, you can always head over to the TheatreArtLife YouTube channel and watch the replay. Enjoy.
All right, and here we have Master Sergeant Rich Dickerson, who is the stage manager for the President's Own United States Marine Band. So, Rich, welcome to TheatreArtLife, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So, I've been given some questions because we prepared some questions today, and we had to get them vetted by the military because that's who you work for. And I'm very glad that they've said yes to all the questions that we're asking. And I want to start with, if you could tell us about your path to becoming the stage manager for the President's Own United States Marine Band, and tell us how you became a stage manager for the military.
Sure. So I started out as a musician. I grew up in a musical family, and early on I played piano until I broke my right ring finger when I was in fourth grade, when I was about 10. And found out I could play the French horn by sticking my broken finger in the bell there, and kind of became a French horn player from age 10, and that took me into high school and marching band in high school. And in high school, we didn't have a stage crew. All of the music students, the drama students, the choir, we all had to do our own stage craft. We kind of learned, and luckily we had a bunch of alumni who would come back, and they had gone on and pursued this as a career. And they came back and kind of mentored us. And so we learned about lighting and a little bit about sound. And I really thought it was great to do that. I always volunteered and worked on that. And so it was just natural to me. I grew up, my mom was a percussionist, and I would always tag backstage, and I would sit there with the stage hands and joke. And then right after high school, I went into the Marines, into one of the field bands out in El Toro, California. And everybody who's junior has to load the truck and move all the gear around, and that was just natural for me. And so they started asking me to do more and more, and so I kept doing more and more. And then after 4 years, being in one of the fleet bands, I wasn't sure what to do with my life, and so I auditioned a couple conservatories and ended up going to Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore, Maryland, for horn performance. And there, just to make some extra money and meet some people and have fun, I joined the stage crew and started doing all the setups. And Peabody had a really good opera department, so they asked me, would you like to work crew for the opera? I said, oh yeah, absolutely. And that was a lot of fun, just hanging out backstage and doing set changes and working with props. And I would show up for the lighting hang and learn everything that I could the lighting hang with the lighting designer at Peabody. And then I'd hang up in the lighting booth with the guys that ran and that's right when moving lights were starting to get in. We had an I-beam. It was, greatest thing since sliced bread. And programming it was not. So we'd sit there and try and figure out how to program the I-beam. And so it was just always so interesting to me that I wanted to pursue stage management. And so I started stage managing the operas. And through that Baltimore Opera, they had a young artist residency program, and they needed a stage manager for that. So I ended up doing that and stage managing all sorts of different things in Baltimore, and ended up, as assistant stage manager on the main stage for Baltimore Opera. So having this background in theater, behind the scenes, and music, and having been in the Marine Corps, when I went to take an audition on the horn for the Marine Band here, I met up with an old friend that I had served with before, who was the drum major. And we went to lunch, and he said, "Hey, we're having an opening for a stage manager. You should apply." I thought, well, okay, what do you guys want? He said, we need somebody that does stage crew, that knows music, and knows the Marine Corps. I said, well, I've got all three.
The perfect storm.
Yes. So I went and interviewed, and I was very nervous, and went through the whole interview process, and luckily they picked me, and that was back in 2004, and I've been here ever since.
That's amazing.
Luck of the draw.
Well, it's great because your skill sets perfectly served the role that they were looking for, So it's a very unique position. So tell us, how many stage manager roles are there in the military?
So officially, as far as I know, there are only 2 stage managers, official stage managers, and that's ours. So Master Gunnery Sergeant Charles Terry and I are the only 2 official titled stage managers in the military. That's our whole job. However, as everyone knows, you need a stage manager everywhere anytime there's a performance. So a lot of the other bands, they'll do it as a collateral duty. So one of the musicians will take over that stage management role, or maybe it will be one of the audio production team, or sometimes once they become more senior in some of the bands, they take on a producer role and they sort of serve multiple hats. And so that's kind of how the U.S. military does that. Oh yeah, there's me at the White House, stage manager. Yeah, I know some of the other militaries. We had the pleasure to work with a couple foreign militaries, and they have stage managers working alongside with them. So I don't know if that's a collateral duty for them or if it's a dedicated position. But we're very lucky here to be in a dedicated position.
I love the words collateral duty. I've never heard a stage management role called a collateral duty. I'm going to use that somehow in my work in the future. So I assume that for such high profile events that you do, that you have to go through a lot of security protocol than maybe what a normal band or a normal show does. So does that mean that your days have to start super early and there's lots of waiting? Because that's what I would imagine it would be. And so tell us about those, high profile events. Obviously you're there in the White House, so you've worked there a lot, and you've probably got long days that you have to do. So how do you keep your group motivated?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just like any other, there's a lot of waiting around, waiting for things to happen to, get into the location. And so I imagine just like any other crew, we just, stand around and talk. Or lately, my young, stage crew Marines have, they're always on the phone. They've picked up this online game called Among Us, and they go around trying to, either kill people or be, evade killing. I don't know much about it. But they try and tell me I'm the old guy.
So you show up at an event pretty early and you hang around all day. So this is you in the White House. What was this event?
Yeah, that was, I think that was for a picnic in the park, New York style picnic in the park there. You see the lighting kind of going along the top there. And we're there for a rehearsal, way before. It's always fun to watch everything get set up because everything rolls in. And, we're set up right about where Marine One lands on the White House. So
wow,
yeah, that lawn gets a lot of use, and luckily the Park Service takes really good care of it.
That's great. And so, do you have a favorite annual event, or is there a special show that you'd like to share with us that you do?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So every year, in a normal year, we have a what we call a young person's concert, and that's or a children's concert, and that's always themed. It gives me a chance to kind of bring a special something to the event. So one time we did a Star Wars themed concert where we had a lot of Star Wars music. So we reached out to the 501st and got them all to come in costume, and we had stormtroopers there, and we had the Resistance there, and they were all came on with their music, and we had Darth Vader. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do my special effects fog fire system, but we did have Darth Vader kind of bust out of the side door there on stage, and had some backlighting on him, and that was a lot of fun. And then we had a concert, Where in the World is John Philip Sousa, where we got to do a lot of pre-recorded video, kind of make it look at what's happening now, and a lot of green screen stuff where he suddenly was in Paris or in Italy, and we had a lot of fun working on that. So those are always great concerts, and plus it's for the kids. So I've got 2 kids, and there's always something special about children's concerts for me.
So you're doing the children's concerts rather than, performing for the president. Like, it's amazing. So there's a good question here from Giselle. Maybe you can answer. Is there any type of music that the Marine Band's not allowed to play? Or is it who dictates the music? Who chooses it?
So the director of the Marine Band is officially the musical advisor to the White House, and he has a pretty good grasp on what to play and what not to play. Of course, the White House, when we're playing there, can request special music, and we've had requests before. We're having a St. Patrick's Day party. We'd like an Irish ensemble. And then we get together and go, we don't have an Irish ensemble. We get a few people that can play Irish music, and suddenly we have an Irish ensemble. And it's actually still going. Or, country music. Hey, we want to have a country music, rock band. Okay, let's figure out how to do that. So it's always kind of fun. And I think more importantly, we try to do things right. So we have librarians that will research the copyrights and make sure that we're within the the guidelines for all the copyrights for performance, live performance, live stream. We really want to set the example there.
And it sounds like, because you do quite a number of diverse events, and you're probably the only stage manager. I mean, what's the scope of your stage management duties? In our pre-chat, we talked about the fact that you ended up doing other duties like lighting and video and staging. So how diverse is your skill set, and how did you open your skill set to do numerous things that sit under the banner of stage manager?
Yeah, so we're kind of a catch-all. I train the crew, I do stage management duties, and most of it I pick up just from on-the-job experience and just being curious. So a lot of it from my college years, lighting, just hanging out with the lighting designer and getting up on the giant wooden A-frame that used to rock back and forth and hang some lights in there. And there's me hanging lights at the U.S. Capitol for a concert. And yeah, it's always whatever I can do that helps. I'll do that. So lighting is one of my loves. Luckily, we have 3 professional audio engineers here, and we're about to have a video crew as well, professional video crew. So I'll be learning from them, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll no longer be a one-man band in that sense. So you'll get to hand off some of those duties to some other people.
That would be good. And it will look better too, I'm sure.
So you've often got like millions of people watching your performances. Do you ever feel the pressure of that?
I am always nervous before the band starts playing. I always think that I've forgotten something, and I go over my checklist 4 or 5 different times. And I'm never exactly happy until the band starts playing. Everyone's sitting down. They have their instrument. They're playing the music. I know at that point, we've got it. They do their thing so well, it's going to be a success. And then all we have to do is clean up at the end. And I'm just always worried, that I forgot something. And on tour, it's even worse because when we go on tour in October's, we have 3 different concerts that we play, 3 different programs. And not until the 3rd day, and of course, we're getting farther and farther away from home each day. And I'm just sitting there biting my nails. I hope I didn't forget anything. So yeah, I'm always nervous. And then once the band starts playing, it's a big relief.
And this is one of those situations. Where is this? Tell us about this one.
So that we're standing right at the U.S. Capitol, looking out at the National Mall there, and that's set up for inauguration. They're actually building that stage right now, and we sit just below where the president speaks. And then this, I think, is for one of the President Obama's inauguration. So there's a lot of chairs all the way out the mall. And I had to take this picture because I was just amazed that there were even that many chairs in Washington, D.C.
That's amazing. And so when you had to do that, you're there sitting there for a while, and like, have you got to sit there for the whole ceremony? Like, are you like installed there and you wait there all day?
Oh yeah, the band is there. So the stage crew goes a little early. We're always just a little bit early in front of the band, and we're there, in the dark, setting up.
You mean dark as in early morning setting up, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I think we get there around 2 or 3 in the morning, and we make sure everything's set up, and then we go and hide, and then the band comes out, and they sit there for the event and play, and then once they're done, we come back out after everything's. A lot of my friends joke, "Hey, I'll see you on TV at the inauguration." I say, "No, if you see me, something's horribly wrong."
It's a problem. That's fantastic. So on that, given that if you see me, is there any funny stories or mishaps that you've had behind the scenes that you're able to share with us?
Oh, always. Yeah. I picked a couple for this. There's the first one was we had a Sousa statue dedication. So we had somebody make a giant bronze statue of John Philip Sousa, one of our previous directors.
That's this picture, right?
Yes. So yeah, the statue's there behind the blue curtain, and we wanted to have some sort of big reveal, and so they asked me to figure something out, and then I went to a company, and they said, oh yeah, we'll do a kabuki drop, and I said, I don't know what that is, but it sounds fun. So yeah, we set up the big kabuki drop, and we're ready. So the event's going on, and on the left side there in the picture, there's a fake cord that the presenters are supposed to pull, and I'm standing there actually in the middle of the shot, right behind that brick pillar, and I've got a piece of tie line that's connected to the top of the truss there behind the bunting, and I'm supposed to pull the tie line, and that releases all the little clamps holding the blue curtain, and the blue curtain was supposed to fall down. So it worked fine in testing, and so the event started, and all the speeches went on, the band played, everything was going great. I was standing back there, very happy. And then the presenters got ready to reveal the statue. They pulled on the fake cord. I pulled on my tie line, and the tie line went pop and broke at the top, and the curtain was still there. And I thought, oh boy. And so I was standing next to my audio engineer at the time, and I turned to him and said, well, I'm going up. And so I climbed up the truss there, and pulled the little release lever, and the curtain fell. And yeah, gosh, and that's why I always wear my blue uniform. I never wear I never get dressed up for these things. I never know when I'm gonna have to climb up a truss or, run through some mud or something to get it something fixed.
To get it happening.
It's one of those moments they saw me and, something was horribly wrong.
They would have seen you go up the side of that truss,
yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and is there anything else that you could share with us?
Oh,
You've got a couple of stories?
Yeah, we had another, one of my memorable experiences with the band. We were playing this piece called Circus Maximus by John Corigliano. And we had Leonard Slatkin guest conducting. Big to do. We're at the Music Center at Strathmore, and one of my best friends, Bill Castman, was stage managing there. And so at the end of this piece, there is a huge build-up, and then it calls for a big shotgun blast. And so we had gone around and found a shotgun and looked for a bunch of black powder blanks, and that was hard to find, but we eventually found some black powder blanks and loaded it up. And in DC, you can't have a weapon in DC, so I put it in the trunk of my car, and I always had to drive around DC. These crazy routes.
This sounds dangerous already. This doesn't. I can already tell it's going to be a mess. Okay, keep going.
So I show up, and the Friday before, I think the concert was on Monday, and the Friday before, I talked to my operations officer, and I said, we hear that the Commandant of the Marine Corps is going to be in attendance, and always has a security detail with him. I said, has anyone let them know I have a shotgun and we'll be firing it on stage? My operations officer said, oh, that's a good idea. And so Monday rolled around, and we got to rehearsals, and I hadn't heard anything. So I didn't know if we were going to, if he had been told or not. So get to the performance. I'm in my red uniform, and Bill Castman is over there laughing at me. And I go on stage, and I've got the shotgun broken down over my knee, and I'm kind of staring up at the box where the commandant is, and I see a gentleman in a suit behind him. And so I'm waiting for my part. I only have one note at the very end. And so it gets closer to the time where I'm supposed to fire the shotgun, and I close up the shotgun, and I see the gentleman in the suit standing behind the commandant kind of lean forward. And I thought, oh boy, this may be the last thing I ever do with the band. It gets closer, and I stand up, and I point the shotgun well away from anybody. And I see the gentleman in the suit kind of reaching into the side of his suit there. And I say, okay, well, I'm going to make this good. So ended up, the last note, holding, and then finally Mr. Slatkin points at me, and I fire the shotgun. Bang! huge noise, and then this deafening silence afterwards. And somebody way up in the third balcony shouts, "Holy cow!" And then the applause happens. And I thought that was just pretty funny. Definitely can remember that forever.
That's amazing. Quite a nerve-wracking experience, I think.
Oh, yes. A lot of fun, too.
Oh, absolutely. So given that experience, I mean, that's quite a very specific experience with regards to your job, because you've got so many people around you that might be sensitive to something like that, as opposed to normal theatrical things where that might be expected. So you've got an entertainment role in a military environment. So how does that compare? What would you, because you have worked in general entertainment, so what's different about it?
Rank is definitely different.
Yeah.
Coming from a stage management where you've got the director and then you have the stage manager. Things around here are a little different. So when you're stage managing, you have to really rely on tact. You have to really make sure that you're passing the correct information, and you have to make sure that you're being courteous at all times, and something we should all do, and it's just even more so here. And then if somebody does have wants to pull rank, then you have to get all diplomatic.
And you have to, who are you essentially reporting to, seeing that there isn't the normal theatrical structure?
Yeah, so I work outside of the operations office, and so the operations office takes care of scheduling all rehearsals and performances. Something a normal stage manager would schedule rehearsals, and that's something we don't do as stage managers here. And we work with our operations office, so we're kind of split up there. But also, we're in charge of the stage crew, and so and we're in charge of training them, as well as and everything for stage crew side, also for the Marine Corps side. So something that a normal stage manager wouldn't do. We spend a lot of time actually mentoring them. So these young men come into the military to be infantry Marines, and they get assigned to us randomly. Their peer group is going to college for the first time. It's that peer group that you're away from college for the first time, except my young men have been trained to kill. So it's always an interesting group, and I really enjoy working with them and teaching them.
And suddenly they're on the stage crew.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Michael Donay asks, what's a typical week look like for the band?
Oh, it's always different. We have a normal rotation, so beginning of January through the end of May is kind of our winter and spring concert series. And normally we'll do a concert every Sunday. So Tuesday through Friday will be rehearsals, gearing up for that concert, and then we'll go out there on Sunday and load in. The unique thing about us is we do very few concerts here at our facility. Most of our concerts are all runouts, so we're one of the most well-traveled musical organizations, and our gear reflects that. Unfortunately, it just gets moved around a lot. And then in the summer, from the beginning of June through the end of August, normally we would have concerts every Wednesday and Thursday at the U.S. Capitol on the steps there. And then Fridays, the band also performs at the Friday evening parade at the barracks. And then September is kind of our gearing up for tour month. And also we have a Music in the Schools initiative that we do. And then October is usually a concert tour in the continental United States. We split up, actually the Department of Defense has split up continental United States into 5 sections, and we rotate through a different section every year. And then November, when we come back from tour, is our Marine Corps birthday ball season, and also Veterans Day, and gearing up for the holiday season. And December is very much a holiday season. And now, so we also support funerals in Arlington, the band does, and the White House. That's our primary job, is to support the president in the White House. And so we're always going over there whenever they want. And sometimes it can be on short notice, and sometimes they give us a little more notice, but we're always ready to go over there. So a normal week is a lot of wait around and wait and see what happens.
My gosh, it sounds like that you're always on the go, though. There's a lot packed into your year.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you like most about your job, Rich?
Oh, definitely the stage crew. The stage crew is some of my favorite part. Yeah, definitely the favorite part of the job, because they're all always unique individuals that come in here. They get here and sometimes they have no idea what a band is. They've never seen a concert band, never heard a concert band, never cared to hear one sometimes. And my philosophy is, what you don't know, you push away, and we don't want to push them away. So we start a music education program with them, as well as learning stagecraft as well. And so we teach them the basics, and we get them that far, and then I'd say 80% of them want to learn more. So I just keep teaching them, and then they're assigned to us for 2 years at a time, and usually at the end of the 2 years they don't want to leave. And some of them do, but some we want to leave. But but yeah, they're some of my favorite, and sometimes not favorite part of the band or part of the job. But also meeting our diverse audiences on tour, it's always very interesting to meet. We'll be in some remote city, and sometimes those will be the only time those residents will ever see a military organization. Or we'll run into people that have been in the Marine Corps years ago, and they have stories, and we sit there and listen to their stories, and it's always very, very interesting. That's always part of my favorite part of the job. And
sorry, did you say how many in your crew generally that you have?
Normally we have between 4 and 8 stage crewmen here, and then 2 stage managers, and we have 3 audio engineers. So between us, all of us, we split into 2 crews, and we kind of handle everything that needs to come up. So it's usually me and 4 crewmen and an audio engineer setting everything up at any given time.
Going into details, in terms of coordination, can you elaborate on how you stage manage your high-profile events, including inaugurations and state funerals? So who are you actually taking cues from? Who's coordinating the logistics on the day? How does that work?
On the real big events, we have something called Military District of Washington, and they are in charge of all military events, large military events. And there's actually an inauguration committee that only works on just inauguration. But if we have a state funeral, that those happen on pretty short notice. There is a team that preps those well in advance with a general outline, and then everything comes together very, very quickly. Myself, everything filters down through our operations office, so they get the marching orders from the Military District of Washington. We have an office actually in the Pentagon that works for Marine Corps Music, and they kind of give us our marching orders. And once we get on site, I kind of make friends with anybody who's on site. Definitely any security, because if something's going wrong and I need to run through the halls, I don't want to get shot. So I always let them know who I am right away, well before I need to run through the halls.
Can't believe you have to think about that, but it's true, right?
There's a picture of inauguration up on the platform. You can see me standing there right where the president will speak. And then the neat thing I like about this is all the speakers that will go underneath the chairs that all the VIPs will sit in. It's a lot of speakers.
And so that's just to amplify the speech, or what are they laid out like that for?
I think it's just so that the VIPs up there can hear everything that's happening.
So your small team is do they bring any extra crew to help set that up, or is it still just your team?
Oh no, all the speakers are set up by I guess the union. There's a company in town, Maryland Sound International, that usually gets this event, and they set up the delay stacks all the way down the mall. It's a huge setup. I'm just there for the band. Oh, there's an early morning at the U.S. Capitol right before inauguration. It gets serious when they put up the seal of the president there.
Yeah, and so this is you setting up at what, like 4 a.m., 3 a.m.?
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. We call it Dark 30.
Dark 30.
Yes.
And this one.
Oh yeah, that's behind the scenes at George H.W. Bush's state funeral. That's one of our sound engineers, Mike Dickerson. There on the board, and he's mixing a feed for the broadcast truck. inside the cathedral there. Yeah, we're just off to the side there, out of sight.
So in this situation, you're obviously supporting the funeral, but between hearing about that you're going to support it and who's going to be choosing the music and coordinating the logistics and stuff, who's doing that?
Oh, so the music, the director will choose that, and he'll pull in resources from the library if he needs. So
it's the same as you said before, the funeral, but there was no personal preferences from the family or anything, or because it's a state affair, it's driven by you guys.
Yeah, the family definitely has a say in what music, and they work with the director of the band and the planning committee, and then we make it happen. Whatever they want, we make it happen. So we had several guest artists that we worked with for this funeral, a vocalist and a pianist. And so we were there for rehearsals, and anything they wanted, we made sure that we did it.
And do you get a lot of rehearsal time with this sort of stuff? Like, I know you're doing high profile events all the time, but I guess there's a lot to be done in a short period of time when you're trying to create it, do a funeral like this.
Oh yeah, and that's the great thing probably about the military, is that everyone kind of stops what they're doing and pitches in and really works to make this happen, and make it a success. So there's that's our orchestra there, and we have the Army provides some ceremonial trumpets, and there's a joint service color guard and a military honor guard, and then there's the body bearers that bring in the casket, and all sorts of things happening. And sometimes there will be a parade specified, so then everyone provides a band and a few marching units to be in the parade. All hands on deck event.
What's the most unique event space you've ever had to stage manage in?
Oh gosh, we're always in historic buildings, over at the Library of Congress, or some of my favorites are for summer concerts. Our pop groups go out to an old amusement park called Glen Echo, and we perform in the old bumper car pavilion there, which I just think is really funny.
You've got a picture of this. This is it? Is this the one?
Oh yeah, that's the bumper car pavilion. You can see on the top there the little bumper car paintings. But yeah, we're inside there, and you can still see a bit of the dark in the ceiling. And finding power is always interesting there. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play there. It's a great venue because they have a very nice audience that's kind of built in.
Do the audience go into the pavilion as well, or are they standing around the outside? It doesn't look so big.
Yeah, a bit of both. They have benches and chairs set up inside, and then we get a lot of people walking by, just walking their dogs or out, going to the park with their children. And there's a historic merry-go-round there as well, or carousel, I guess I should call it.
Yeah,
it has an actual calliope and hand-carved horses. So it's a very nice historic area. We really like playing there. Yeah, all the historic places around Washington, D.C. are always fun. I naturally like to get in places and then kind of explore, wander around the Library of Congress and looking at the gold filigree on the ceiling and the amazing painting. Just going up once and touching the White House. That's my first time. I'm really cool.
That's awesome. Outside the President of the United States, which is, already an amazing person to be playing for and around it regularly, are there other special guests that you've been able to perform or collaborate with that are of mention?
Oh, sure. I think, we mentioned John Corigliano, who wrote Circus Maximus, and then Leonard Slatkin conducting us was a great honor. And, we often get composers that want to compose a piece for band, and sometimes they compose it just for us. Probably my favorite is John Williams. I grew up listening to his music from Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jaws. And we have a very good relationship with him. He's conducted the band on several occasions. And when we go out on tour, like last year, we were in California, had a concert at UCLA, and he came and conducted the Imperial March with the band just as a surprise. And he's super nice. You'd never know. He's happy to talk to everybody, and he sits down and wants to know what you're doing, what your name is, and you'd never know that he was just a worldwide famous composer of music. Yeah, he's just a great guy. And everyone that comes and works with us, once you get to a certain level, you just usually just a very nice person.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I want to go back to the crew that we're looking. This is your crew, right? You and the crew. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guys on the left, you might see the bigger guys, younger guys. Those are my infantry Marines. Those are my stage crew, and then us old guys on the right side there. Well, except for the guy on the third. He's younger. Those are my audio engineers and myself. But the stage crew is on the left there.
So when you're taking these guys on board, and you've got to teach them stagecraft and I guess basic music education, because not all of them may have had that experience. So how do you layer and build that up for people who have never been involved in your history and your work in the arts? So how do you start with these guys that may or may not know anything about stagecraft?
So I connected with them on common ground. They came into the Marine Corps. They volunteered. They're interested to be active, and then I kind of let them know about the band's history and connect them to that. There's a reason the band is here. We were founded in 1798 by an act of Congress, and we're America's oldest continuous musical organization. And so they are now part of that. And I try to set that as the setting, and then we build from there. And so we start. When you go to recruit training, there's an exercise. You learn the outlines of all the different armor and planes and different things that are on the battlefield. So we start that in the same vein of thinking. All right, this is a bassoon, this is a timpani, and we start with that. And once they learn the basic instruments and they can identify them, and we get into how to move everything, because it's very specific, especially with some of the percussion equipment, and that we move it so often, it's important to do it right. And then we get into a little bit about, okay, well, you've got everything on stage, we want to be able to see it, so we need to talk about how to light it. And then luckily we have three professional audio engineers here, and we'll get them into how are we going to make this sound good? How are we going to capture it for recording, or do we want to have a public rebroadcast of what's happening here, or reinforcement? And we talk about we start at the beginning, cable wrapping, identifying microphones, a lot of cable wrapping, box pushing, a lot like when you start with a union, you start pushing boxes,
right?
And loading trucks is the next step up, and so it's all kind of like that. And as they keep learning, they get more interested. And I say, hey, you can really go down the rabbit hole with this, digital lighting. You've got multi-universe, audio and lighting rigs. And anytime we go into a really nice theater, I have them go talk to the crew that's there and say, hey, ask them what they do. That's how I learn.
Has any of them left the military and ended up in entertainment in any way? Do you know?
Oh yeah. We've got several that are stage managing for different groups, and I always take that as a huge oh yes moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I tell them, hey, when you get out, we're giving you a skill that you can go and start working right away. And it's very important.
I love this picture because for me, it's an epitome of it doesn't matter what realm of work that you are. Stage crew chilling out looks the same everywhere.
Yes. When we're done loading in, and now the stage crew all on their phones.
Where's this photo taken?
That was on tour last year in Porterville, California.
Yeah.
So we're doing a ground level load there down the ramp, and we have about 21,000 pounds of gear we have to load in and out every day. They're probably actually texting each other in that photo.
You never know. And this event here, tell us about this one.
Oh, so that's a group we call Free Country. That's our country rock band, and they're performing there at a normal summer concert at the Capitol. And so we set up those little tiny line arrays there with our genie towers, and we've got our LED lights lighting them, and our winger risers there. And so, yeah, the crew will go in there, and I'll teach them, the lighting, and we'll get them to, build the arrays and run all the cable and plug everything in, and the breakout boxes and the snakes and all the audio stuff, and run everything to the front house board. And they learn all of that, and hopefully someday they'll be able to go somewhere and go, oh yeah, I know how to do this. Ask a question, know enough to know that they don't know how to do it, and ask a question.
And is that set up and struck in the same day, or is it like something that's set up there for the, You've always got to kind of clear that area, right? Because it's such a iconic space.
Well, that, and if it rains, we don't want to leave our gear out there. But yeah, it takes us about 3 hours to set up and about an hour and a half to break down. And then we go home.
Yeah. As a French horn player, has being a musician helped you serve you as a stage manager, you think? I'm sure it would have, given the roles and the duties that you do for the military, right? Oh,
absolutely, yeah. Like any other stage manager that manages a music-based group, reading music has been very important, especially for our children's concerts or any special concert that has some sort of video element or a lighting cue or any other cue like that. I'm able to follow along with the score and call those cues in time, which is a valuable skill, I think, for a stage manager of a musical organization. And then, as a benefit, having played in different brass quintets and woodwind quintets as a horn player, I'm familiar with those different setups, and so I can talk to the musicians with some sort of knowledge of what they want to do and how they want to set up. An orchestra setup, I have a pretty good idea of where things go, and I can even go and say, well, do we want to set up as a German style or American style? People are always shocked that I know what that means. So yeah, it's definitely been a big help. That's me doing video projections for the Four Seasons. So we had a conductorless chamber orchestra, just the strings, and I'm following along. And apparently there was text to the Four Seasons. I never knew that until we did this concert. We're doing the text poem written by Vivaldi himself.
That does look like fun. What venue was that, did you say?
That's so we play at Northern Virginia Community College's Schlesinger Hall. That's kind of our home away from home.
Right.
And we're very lucky that we go there and they kind of just give us free reign. And as an actual, proscenium theater, so I'm able to just show my new crew guys around. Hey, we have a rigging system, we have a fly system. These are all the things that a real stage has that our band hall doesn't.
Put them in a real theater for once.
Yes. So it's good.
Are there any entertainment type positions around you that are civilian positions, or does everybody involved with what you do have to be a member of the military?
So we have a few civilian positions that work directly with the band. They're over at the Pentagon in the Marine Corps Music kind of headquarters position. One of those is our previous operations officer. He's in charge of all of our touring now, and also helps out with scheduling the band in the DC area. And then there are a couple civilian organizations within the military that do video. One is called DMA. They're over at Fort Myer, I believe. And then, of course, we always work with contractors. We've worked with several film crews to work, to film the band. Now we're hiring a couple professionals to do a lot of that in-house, now that we're doing a lot more online than live now. Trying to take advantage of things like this, getting to a much wider audience. It's a lot of fun.
Sure. And what's this? Is this part of the external crew?
Yeah. So that was again at Nova, Northern Virginia Community College. That stage there, and we were working with George Schwartz in the All-Star Orchestra program that he has, or All-Star Band. So we did a filming session for one of those episodes, and we had a civilian crew come in for that. And you see the jib there and all the camera positions, and they had a room in the back where they were live mixing the video, and we were mixing the audio. And it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to work with the professional team there, and learned a lot.
Yeah, it does look like a good gig.
Yeah. And we ended up winning an Emmy for that, so we're very, very happy.
That's amazing. So do the members of the President's Own travel with the President overseas and do gigs there? And are you required as a stage manager to be at those events if you're going abroad?
So we don't travel internationally very much. We did go on a tour in Japan last year, and that was the first time since the early 2000s we had toured internationally. But yeah, we mostly stay here in DC, except for October's, where we kind of split the band and half goes on tour and half stays here. And our primary purpose is to serve the White House, and kind of internationally, the bands provide their own territorial engagements. So if the president goes, say to Great Britain, the bands there will play for his arrival. And so we get to do that when people come and visit us, learning a different national anthem, and we go over to the Pentagon for an arrival ceremony, and then a lot of times we'll play for the state dinner at the White House. One of those times we got to sit on the roof of the Oval Office recently to provide provide music for the dinner in the Rose Garden. It's a pretty neat. Don't step.
That's awesome. That's great. And what's this photo here? What is this? Is this some people arriving or?
Yeah, that's just set up at the stage at the Sylvan Theater there at the Washington Monument, and it's always neat to see the boss fly by right there.
That's great. Giselle asked, how many styles of uniform does the Marine Band have? Do they have like different ones for different events? So how does that work?
Sure. Yeah, we have what we call our ceremonial full. That's the red uniform you might see behind me in one of these pictures here, with all the braiding and the buttons and everything. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, we can see it behind you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with the white braiding, and so that's actually a traditional Marine Corps uniform. Early on in the Marine Corps, the fighting Marine would wear blue with red piping, and the non-combatants. Back then you had the drummers and the fifes and the trumpets that would march the troops into battle. To mark them as non-combatants, they wore the inverse of the Marine Corps uniform, which was red with blue piping.
So red with blue piping, right?
Yeah. So that's the traditional non-combatant musical uniform, and we have the instead of the crossed rifles, we have the music lyre on our rank. So we have that uniform, our ceremonial full uniform. We have a special full uniform, which is without all the braiding, and that's what our string players wear, because if you caught one of those braids with your bow, man, you'd be in trouble. And then we have the uniform that I'm wearing. This is our service uniform, but kind of the green one. And then we have, of course, the dress blues, which everyone seems to like.
So you got a lot of different ones to wear, depending on the event. Richard asks, what contingency plans do you make in case of inclement weather, and specifically, how do you handle instruments getting wet? You're laughing. I think that you've dealt with that a lot before.
It happens a lot in the summer, especially when we're out at the Capitol. And sometimes it's really clear. It's definitely going to rain, and there's lightning and thunder, and we don't even go out there. And that's I'd rather have it be that or completely clear. But a lot of times in DC, it'll say 50% chance of rain, which to me means they don't know what's going to happen, and neither do we. So a lot of times we'll go out there and we'll take the truck out, and we'll kind of look up at the sky for a while. And now we all have our smartphones, and we're sitting there looking at the radar, trying to figure out what's going on. And eventually we either say, nope, it's not going to happen, or, oh, we're going for it. And then we start setting up. So we bring a lot of tarps, and we're there well before the musicians. We have the larger equipment, timpani, vibraphones, xylophones, marimba, those instruments with wood. We want a tarp, and sometimes we won't even take them off the truck until the last minute. And of course, the audio system, it has electricity, and when there's lightning in the area, that's a definite, hey, we've got to stop. But if it's just rain, then you've got your little sandwich bags and tarps and anything to keep the rain off. And sometimes it'll rain just during the setup, and then it'll clear up for the performance time. And we're either there or we might have pulled the plug already, and the sun's shining at 8 p.m. and everyone's thinking, why aren't you playing?
Yeah,
because we couldn't set up.
Yeah, I need that 3 hours back so we can set up again.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't. Just wave my magic wand and there it is. I wish.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out the weather and hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Angel asks, do you have a lot of redundant systems in your setup in terms of extra gear and things like that, or what's your point of failure there with systems?
So the Marine Corps likes to say we do more with less. And that's definitely true sometimes with the band. We have one sound system, and hopefully it never goes down. And we just try and take care of it. We do have several sets of timpani that we could go get some more timpani if we ever had a big problem. A couple bass drums and enough musical instruments to make do. But some of these systems are, we have one lighting system, and if that system goes down, we're in trouble. So we just try and keep it in good shape and test it and make sure it's working.
Yeah. Tell us about the Sponsor the Marine Band program and your involvement with that.
So in a normal year, in October, we'll go on national concert tour. So we have our Office of Communications that does a lot of the advance for that, and they work very closely with the tour director at the Pentagon. And I think on their webpage they have a sponsor system where people in the area that we're touring can request the band, and then they take care of helping us find a place to play and promoting the concert and kind of being our liaison in that town. And it comes out very important. Everybody. These liaisons are great help to us. They bring us into different places because we don't know what's there. We're not locals. Ask a local is always the best policy in this case. So finding the best place to play and where people can drive in and from different areas around the town. So yeah, if anyone's ever interested in being a sponsor for a national concert tour, definitely head to our website and look up that program. And it's very valuable.
And what is that website? Can we put that in the chat box?
Yeah, usually I think we just Google U.S. Marine Band. I think it's usmarinebands.mil. Marineband.mil.
U.S. Marine Band. All right, we will find it. We'll send it out. And I've got to show you this picture.
Yeah, it's just our tour truck. So if you sponsor us, you'll see this truck showing up. We have a 53-foot semi-tractor trailer that we tour with, and we load that front to back, top to bottom, and then usually just ramp off to a loading dock or the ground. We'll bring in all the gear.
That's amazing.
Stands, everything.
Well, I do hope that I get to see you in action at some point in the future, even though I'm on the other side of the world right now and I probably can't get over there, but at some point we will.
Yeah, we're doing a lot more live streams lately. So if you catch us on our website, we're live stream, I think every Wednesday this month and next month. And then we do have a YouTube channel as well where you can see all of our old performances and a lot of our neat things. We have a Veterans Day special coming up that is really neat. We just filmed at the Marine Corps Museum.
That's amazing. There you go. Shelley's put it in the chat box, the Marine Bears. There you go. Thank you so much, Shelley. Yeah. And we've hit our hour, Rich. So thank you so much for joining us tonight or this morning for you for TheatreArtLife. I really enjoyed learning about your role. And yes, thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It was my pleasure.
Please write a review on our podcast whenever you listen to our podcast and let your friends know about us. You can learn more about TheatreArtLife by visiting our website at www.theatreartlife.com. And you can follow us on social media and leave your questions or comments on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, or YouTube. We really want to thank David Zaya for composing the music for our podcast and Michelle Sharotta, who is our sound engineer. We are your hosts, Anna and Anna, and this is the TheatreArtLife podcast, where we put the spotlight on those who create live entertainment around the world.